if one person knew how to do their job good, none of this movie would have happened.
Not even a minute of this movie.
Hey, I'm Blake.
And I'm Dave.
And this is the Nic Cage action movie episode of First Prize Films, an over-the-top podcast where we each select a genre-specific movie and pit them against each other to find out which film wins the coveted title of First Prize. What does that mean for us, Dave?
Yeah, so it's like the estimated delivery date on an important package.
Yeah.
Something's never right.
Never.
Today we are Nic Caging our way through these Nic Cage action films for Blake's birthday.
Oh boy.
Yes.
It's rip-roaring time.
It's like the 20s.
I wish I was still in my 20s.
Yeah.
So for my birthday episode, Dave, I made you watch 1997's Face Off, a film that made me barf.
Yes, that's exactly what happened to you.
It's gross.
You also made me watch The Rock, a movie that makes you Google facts about Alcatraz way too many times.
So many Alcatraz facts that have nothing to fucking do with this movie.
It was less Alcatraz facts and more me going, nah.
I found myself saying that quite a lot this entire episode, so...
Yeah, I agree.
Even ground here.
So, Blake, it is your birthday episode, and you got to pick both of these movies.
Yep.
So, you're going to have to explain why you didn't go with something, artsy or, more like cinema. You decided Nic fucking Cage.
Excuse me, these are cinema with a capital C. So don't you dare talk down to me. Also, I'll take that as a threat. I was going to make you watch a couple David Lynch movies, but we don't have 15 hours to get through this episode. Yeah. So I decided on a couple movies. I like to watch movies from the 90s. There's a lot of crazy shit that happened in that time in terms of movies and filmmaking. And so for me, you can't get more bang for your buck than a good Nicolas Cage action movie. And two of my favorites of the genre are Face Off from 1997 and The Rock, which also stars Sean Connery. It's why I love both these movies. And they're also both by two good directors. One great, John Woo, who directed Face Off, and Michael Bay, who was in his element.
It's before he got the okay to just use as many explosions as he wanted.
And before he bought a drone. So this is pure Michael Bay action cinema, and these are two fun movies.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't seen them in forever, and I thought, hey, what's a good way to rewatch these without feeling stupid about myself and terrible now that I'm turning 58 this year?
Right, and I gotta say, man, this did not help.
No,
I still feel
not
stupid.
at all. I feel ridiculously dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mess up this entire episode.
The reason why I feel stupid is because I really liked Face Off as a kid. I mean, the theme park that we grew up near had a ride named after this movie.
I waited in line the day that ride opened so I could ride it, like be one of the first riders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just like this movie, it disappointed.
I wouldn't say this movie disappointed, but it did hurt my brain a lot.
For sure. Do you have any experience with either of these movies? I know you said Face Off you watched a bunch, but how about The Rock?
I had never seen The Rock. I had heard of it. But, because of our world today and how awful things are, I always just thought of Dwayne Johnson. So
yeah, this is the original The Rock. So now I'm going to call Dwayne Johnson Dwayne Alcatraz Johnson. You're welcome, Dwayne. I'll accept check or money order.
Well, since you picked these movies for your birthday and you decided you wanted to talk about Face Off, it is the new movie, so you get to go first this time.
Okay, sorry.
Movie 1, Face Off, 1997.
All right, Blake, so we are cutting into Face Off from 1997. Let's hear your synopsis for this movie.
The year is 1997, and there's a bomb in Los Angeles. Time is of the essence, so FBI agent Sean Archer steals the face of the bomb's architect, Castor Troy, has full-body surgery and a voice modulation implant. Now he can be taken to a secret black site prison to ingratiate himself with the prisoners and talk to Castor's brother to hopefully get enough information about the bomb before being pulled out to go through another surgery and finally go to therapy for his wife.
The lengths men will go to avoid therapy.
It's a love story. We open with a literal bang when FBI agent and terrible dad Sean Archer is shot by a sniper while riding a carousel. So the bullet goes through his tissue paper organs and it kills his son behind him.
Yeah, and he reacts weird.
So there's a lot of face touching. That's a motif, a very subtle one.
Oh God, I hate this motif.
It's a strange sequence, but Sean Archer is played by John Travolta, and his son is played by who cares? He's dead now. Now it's 6 years later for no real reason, and Sean is a shell of his former carousel-riding self, and we discover who it is who tried to kill him. It's a man named Castor Troy, played by Nic Cage.
Nic Cage.
Castor Troy is, as a character, he's kind of like the bobblehead version of a villain, you know?
He really is. I really feel like Nic Cage was given full creative license to be whatever the fuck he wanted for this.
This is immediately an off-the-rails performance.
You know what I think happened? I think the director was like, I just want you to be able to just be what you want. And he looked at John Travolta and he's like, suck on this, motherfucker.
I never really enjoyed the Messiah. In fact, I think it's fucking boring. But your voice makes even a hack like him seem like a genius.
So Castor Troy, played by Nic Cage, he's dressed up as a priest at the Los Angeles Convention Center where he activates a bomb. Mm-hmm. We know it's a deadly bomb because it has a skull and crossbones on the screen.
Thank God. I was going to be like, is this like a water heater or what's he doing here?
And stay away from downtown on the 18th. It's going to be a little, smoggy.
Now, Castor Troy has an equally shitty brother named Pollux, and they're heading out of Los Angeles on a jet when this happens.
There's someone on the runway.
Archer.
Thus begins a sequence that is 100% a precursor to the Fast and Furious franchise.
I was going to say, is this the same runway that they used in the Fast and Furious movie? Because
it's the same one. So Sean Archer and the FBI, they chase down Castor's jet on the runway. Sean plays chicken with the jet.
Oh my God.
Then he stops to assist a dead colleague. Then he gets in a helicopter and continues chasing the jet that is still on the runway somehow. By my very specific and scientific calculations, this runway is at least 15 miles long.
Yes, because they are driving for 3 minutes, and they're going at least 100 miles an hour.
These FBI vehicles can reach speeds of 300 miles an hour.
Just pull up.
just do anything else. But speaking of crashing.
Did I say crash?
Luckily, that jet, like we said, it never takes off, and it just crashes into a hangar somewhere deep in San Bernardino County based on the length of the runway. I have no fucking idea.
This runway is the entire length of California.
Also, I do want to point out that the hangar they crash into must have been housing cheap fireworks because it looks like sparklers are going off.
I'm scared, Johnny. Well, I think you better pull the trigger because I don't give a fuck. I'm ready for the big ride.
So after a gun battle, the FBI arrests Castor Troy's brother Pollux. Nope, had those removed last year. Pollux Troy. Then Castor and Sean battle it out, and Castor gets blown to death by a jet engine turbine in a wind tunnel because airplane hangar.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what's funnier here. The fact that he, stumbles and falls directly onto the button that fucking shoots him into the fucking wind turbine, or the guy earlier who they didn't even attempt to edit out the lines he was on as he got pulled away from the scene.
It's Comedy of Errors, the movie.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Porcelain casing, thermal cloak, nerve gas, and biological payload.
It's enough to flatten a square mile.
So Sean got his bad guy, so he celebrates with his wife and promises that he'll finally go to therapy, but he's presented with some evidence now on a floppy disk that belonged to Pollux Troy. So remember the bomb, from the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
At the LA Convention Center? Mm-hmm. These are the plans on the floppy disk. The only thing they don't know is where the bomb is.
The only person he'd talk to about that bomb is his brother, and he's dead.
There is one other possibility.
So since Castor Troy is presumed dead and Pollux wouldn't talk to anybody else about the bomb, there's really just one simple answer here, Dave.
Oh, what's that?
The outside exactly like Troy's. Then we fit his face on top. Not a replica, but the real thing.
So you want to take his face and mine?
Borrow. The procedure's completely reversible.
So wait, instead of helping like children and amputees and stuff, they're saving this technology of face swapping so the FBI can switch faces with people and put them in jail to talk to other people.
Yeah, this is a very responsible use of our tax dollars.
And realistic as well.
It's the most realistic part of this movie, actually.
Let's give more money to the cops.
You're asking me to break the law, risk my neck, and you're asking me to put in the dark all the people that love me and trust me. I'll do it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did he literally just like didn't think about this at all? Just impulsively is like, fucking let's just rip my face and put it on somebody else's face.
He got frustrated at a couple interviews that didn't go the way he wanted, so he's like, God damn it. Give me total body surgery. But here's the thing, though. It's completely off the books. No one but a select few people will know this is even going on. And that doesn't even include his wife. So Sean gets the secret procedure, and it's fucking gross looking.
Dude, it's so gross.
This montage is a wild mix of really stupid computer footage and dummy heads. And even though it's bad, it's still really effectively disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, they tried not to show a lot, but they showed too much already.
I gotta say, like, the effect does look relatively good. I mean, minus, like, the couple dummy heads in there that don't look great, but, like...
It's fine. I bought it.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
So Sean wakes up as Castor to see himself in the mirror and goes berserk. I mean, I get it, but you're way cooler now, so, like, relax, bro.
But, yeah, I mean... Nic Cage is cooler than John Travolta.
Way cooler. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But Sean has 6 days now until the bomb is supposed to go off, and he's put into the super-duper secret prison where, quote, the Geneva Convention is void here. I assume this place is run by guys who got beat up in high school and decided that the police force wasn't violent enough.
Watch your fucking mouth. Watch your fucking mouth! I'm Castor Troy! Yeah! I'm Castor Troy!
So Sean, as Castor, immediately gets into a fight in prison and has to wail on a bunch of dudes that he himself put there, all while trying to pretend to be Castor Troy in front of his brother Pollux. But here's the thing, Dave. There's a problem at the Face-Off Lab. Face-Off Industries.
Face-Off Industries.
Face-Off LLC. I don't know what that place is called. Either way, the real Castor Troy wakes up at the lab looking like a peeled potato, and he wants a fucking face.
And luckily, they didn't put Sean's face on ice or anything. They just put it in this weird fucking solution. Just out in the open.
Just put it in a bag of water like a goldfish. But Castor doesn't go right for the face. He goes right for the phone.
Yeah, what?
Boss, it's me. Believe it. They took the switch. But it's cool. We're gonna deal with it.
What? Castor Troy woke up and he's not restrained? How convenient.
Why didn't they kill him? You had a chance.
Capital punishment's fine. Why not?
Well, Castor does have a plan, though. He has his goons bring in the doctor who performs these surgeries. And we skip forward a bit in time to prison where Sean, as Castor, he gets a visitor.
Uh-oh.
You got a visitor?
It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
Troy? Now that is between us. I torched all the evidence that proves you're you. Okay, so wow, looks like you're gonna be in here for the next 100 years.
Oh my God. Castor now has Sean's face and body, and he's planning to take Sean's girlfriend Sandy to the sock hop at Rydell High. Wait, that's Grease. This is probably happening? This might be serious too.
Yeah, I don't know about as serious as the Grease reference you just made.
But if you remember, there is a bomb still that's going to level downtown Los Angeles. So Castor, as Sean, gets his brother Pollux out of prison and decides not to let that bomb go off.
Wait a minute. So Castor, Archer? Anyway, the bad guy, his plan is to just be a good guy now?
Sean Archer disarmed a massive bomb just 1 second before it was set to blow.
Dave.
What?
We were this close to clearing Los Angeles for affordable housing.
Damn it.
Too bad, poor people. Quit complaining and just be millionaires already. I'm sick of the bitching.
Tired of it.
God, just work hard and you'll get everything you ever wanted. It's the 90s. Yep. Anyway, Castor as Sean decides to save LA from the bomb so he can leverage that goodwill from like being a hero into a better job that would have him oversee all of global terrorism for the Bureau.
What?
Okay. I'm not here to blame 9/11 on anybody, but let's just say Travolta can melt steel beams.
Wait, speaking of melting steel beams.
Oh, no.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
The bad guy is fucking the good guy's wife because the good guy's wife thinks that the bad guy is the good guy, right?
What'd you just say to me?
Well, let me say it less confusing.
Please.
Castor as Sean is fucking Sean's wife, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Are their dicks the exact same shape and size?
Ooh, good question.
Good
question.
How did this not happen? She's laying there and she goes, did it get bigger? Or did it get smaller?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I'm going to write about this in my weird diary I keep in the kitchen.
Out.
So back in prison, Sean, dressed up in the skin suit that looks like Castor.
Oh my God.
He gets free from the guards and he causes a prison riot where he's able to escape. Almost. No! Sean discovers once he's outside that he's really on an oil rig out in the ocean. So what does he decide to do, Dave?
Oh no.
He outruns a helicopter and bullets and he jumps into the ocean. Do you know how long it takes for him to swim to shore, Dave?
14 years, 3 months, and 8 days.
Good guess, but it doesn't matter because swimming is boring. Also, why didn't the helicopter follow him? You could easily just watch him swim to shore, right? Why the helicopter sees him go in the ocean, like, oh, bye.
Guess he's dead.
Did anyone read the script?
No.
No. Castor as Sean, he gets some news.
Castor Troy's dead.
He got killed trying to escape from Erewhon.
Where's his body?
It hasn't been recovered yet.
It hasn't been recovered yet?
You must trust me. He's already here.
How could Castor possibly know Sean survived a 2+ mile swim, apparently fully underwater?
Sure.
So Sean, as Castor, visits some known accomplices of Castor's, and one of them, Dietrich, has a question.
What is it?
You want to get out of the country?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna get Sean Archer with your help.
Okay. Welcome home, baby.
Hey, now that's some top-notch FBI thinking. Sean is going to use Castor's friends against him, and also do their drugs and drink their liquor.
This drug sequence is intense.
But one of the lowlifes here has a question for Sean.
Another one?
So, once we kidnap Super Cop, then what?
I'd like to take his face off.
I'm wondering if this is where they came up with the movie title, but then I realized that they say it 3 times in a row just to drive the point home.
I don't care because... Get down! Castor found out that Sean is with his old friends, and he sends the FBI to raid them, and like, blah, 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 there's guns and action and people dying. But we finally get to a showdown between Sean and Castor with a mirror between them. Get it? It's symbolism. For something.
Yay, heavy-handed mirror symbolism.
Yay, heavy mirrors and guns.
I don't know what I hate wearing worse. Your face or your body?
Or that fucking suit, bro. Come on.
I mean, God, it's so disgusting.
Anyway, more shooting and explosions, and Sean, he gets away. And you know where he goes, Dave?
Hell?
That's his second stop. He goes back home first to his wife, who has no fucking idea that the man who looks just like the killer of her son is actually her husband. And it goes over as well as a wet fart in a busy elevator. Here's Sean trying to explain himself.
The assignment was to enter a federal prison as Castor Troy. A special ops surgeon gave me Castor's face. Then Castor came out of his coma and killed everybody who knew about the mission, but not before transforming into me.
That is insane.
Dude, this is the most traumatic way to prove you are who you say you are to your wife. It's like the single most traumatic way.
But either way, it works. Sean reminds his wife that she broke her tooth off on their first date, and she's like, wow, it's you. If that were me, you'd have to be way more specific. Which tooth and what broke it?
Yeah, that's happened to you a lot.
So now that someone believes Sean, we're at the funeral of Sean's boss, and we get another showdown between Sean and Castor. It's a face-off.
Wait, so you mean to tell me that Sean and Castor are going to have another face-off in the movie Face-Off so that Sean can take Castor's face off?
Because they have each other's faces on. It's like an onion. It's layered. But that's not all, because Castor... he's no John Travolta. He's actually smart. He knew Sean's wife had doubts, so she and their daughter, Jamie, are hostages now.
This is between us. Leave them out of it.
No, you should have left them out of it.
But that's not all, Dave. There are more people with guns. A guard, as well as a woman named Sasha from earlier, who is Castor's baby mama.
Oh, yeah.
Sasha, what the fuck are you doing here?
This whole scene is very confusing because it's like a five-way standoff, especially for the camera operator who's just whipping around trying to keep up with what the fuck is going on. It's not working.
No.
But the guns go off. Sasha's dead. Sean's wife is alive. But now the battle is on, Dave. It's Sean versus Castor versus the laws of physics. No one is safe. No one has been to the gun range in quite a while.
Everyone is a stormtrooper.
It's a boat chase. And let me tell you, the hits don't stop, Dave. These men are smashing their boats together, not a euphemism, murdering cops, loafer skiing, also not a euphemism, and ramping their boats off of other boats. It's boats on boats on boats.
Boats and hoes.
Honestly, I thought that shot of the boat ramping the other boat, which then explodes, was the best in the movie.
I would say yes.
Until the end of this boat chase, when a boat that both men are in crash onto land, and two men who are decidedly not Nic Cage and John Travolta fly out of the boats.
Dude, the most insane part is the fact that Nic Cage's stunt double had John Travolta hair and John Travolta's stunt double had Nic Cage hair. I really think they just forgot who was playing whose stunt double.
They tried to do face off, but they just did hair off. And the way it's even shot too, like the stuntmen look like they were put on one of those like lake inflatable things where people jump on it and send the other one flying. Anyway, Sean and Castor aren't paralyzed for some reason, and they fist fight on the sand. Sean gets a hold of a harpoon gun and shoots Castor in the stomach while yelling his classic catchphrase, "Die!" But you might be thinking to yourself, Dave, hey, what's going to happen now? Sean still looks like Castor.
You okay, Archer? What did you call me?
He called you Archer, sir.
Oh, never mind. I guess someone off screen told the FBI in a very convincing way that the man who looks exactly like the most wanted criminal in the world right now is actually cool. And in fact, their boss. They just know. Also, FBI, if you're listening, there's a bridge I would love to sell you. But don't worry, because Sean isn't going to be stuck looking like that forever. While he was fighting Castor, his wife, Eve, she made some phone calls. She's handling the real issues here. Her sex life. What?
They're bringing in their top surgical team from DC. You're going to be okay.
Excuse me, what? So the lab that did this procedure that got burnt down with all this cutting edge technology, I guess wasn't the only one that could do that? The top DC surgeon can just remold your entire body?
Yes.
What?
Honestly, this part is more believable than what comes next.
Yeah, because we flash forward to sometime later when Sean comes home and he looks exactly like John Travolta again.
No, he doesn't. He looks exactly like John Travolta walking through fog.
It's a foggy yet sunny morning at the Archer household, I guess.
Sure.
Get your Folgers.
The best part of waking up.
It's Travolta in your cup. Get it out! And that's it. The whole family is back together. No scars, problems, or lasting lifetime trauma at all.
No, none. And they're not about to introduce a whole lot more.
No, definitely not. But speaking of lifetime trauma, remember how I briefly mentioned Sasha and that she's Castor Troy's baby mama?
Yeah.
Well, since she's dead and nobody cares about her, Sean took it upon himself to adopt his son without asking his own family and just bring him home unannounced.
Unannounced.
This is Adam. He needs a place to live.
He brings home a child that looks eerily similar to their own that they lost, around the same age, and no one is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, now they don't have to cry about their dead son anymore. They just got the latest model. No one questions this literally at all. What the fuck?
Honestly, the only thing less believable than face swapping is someone just straight up replacing their kid with the one they orphaned with their actions.
Hey, that's one less trip to the cemetery every year. Oh. We got a new one.
Yeah.
Dave, the things this movie asks me to accept, unforgivable.
Unforgivable. There was not a time or piece of action in this movie at any point during any moment that I was like, I believe that.
Literally not one. This is absurdity after absurdity.
But here's the most absurd thing about this movie is the fact that in 1997, we collectively as a society just accepted it.
And not only accepted it, loved it.
Loved it.
People love this movie. I love this movie.
Named a fucking roller coaster after it in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I don't get it. Watching this thing back, I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. Holy shit. It was kind of a struggle to get through. I'm not going to lie.
Bro, I was laughing so many times during this movie. Like, I might have pissed off my neighbor.
Fuck your neighbor. We got Cage in here.
We got Nic Cage to get to.
Oh yeah, roll credits. I legitimately can't believe this movie got made.
I don't understand.
The 90s
how,
were wild.
Or why, or who was like, sure.
No, who read this and goes, yep. Not only are we going to give this film money to be made, we're going to give it millions and millions and millions of dollars.
But also, couldn't you have at least picked two actors whose faces were even remotely the same shape?
Dude, seeing Travolta doing a Nic Cage impression in this thing is so funny. And
it's amazing.
The men look nothing alike, and for some reason everybody just gobbled it up. Like fistfuls of Cage into their mouth. It's insanity.
We accept Cage and all of his caginess.
Travolta's too sour.
Yeah, he's a bit tart.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel like we're going to just get stuck on this movie, so can I talk about mine now?
No. Running on fumes, baby. Let's get to The Rock.
Movie 2, The Rock, 1996.
All right, Dave, I need you to give me the synopsis for 1996's The Rock.
The year is 1996, probably, and the U.S. government has pissed off the wrong person. Their own top general. After giving tourists on Alcatraz an all-too-real experience in the prison, it's up to a lab nerd and an escape artist criminal because there's no one else at all. Don't question it.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Keep moving.
Move along.
So we open to a hodgepodge of scenes. We get General Hummel, played by Ed Harris, who's looking concerned, a military funeral, some choppers flying directly into the sun, and a title card that could not have been made in any program other than MS Paint. It's all very intense.
We're in that perfect span of not quite war yet in the United States.
Yes.
So they're just flying military helicopters around for fun.
That's exactly what's happening.
It's good stuff.
There's something I've got to do, Barb. But whatever happens, please don't think less of me.
The movie finally gets going after the montage that feels like a PTSD fever dream, and we see General Hummel telling his dead wife he's up to something before we see exactly what he's up to.
To be clear, he's not like looking at the dead corpse of his wife, like sitting in his basement or anything like that. He's at her gravesite.
Yeah.
Although I wish he was talking to her corpse.
It would have been much better. Anyway, let's see what he's up to.
I got the access cards. We got 30 minutes till those darts were off.
So Hummel is pretending to do an inspection on a military facility while he's got his own guys breaking in.
Yeah.
It feels like he could have just pretended to do the inspection and saved himself a lot of effort. But what do I fucking know?
It's the military, Dave. They're extra. They do a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, we see him directing his guys to steal 16 missiles and some pretty cool glowing Christmas ornaments.
Stuff does look cool.
Be back! See you later!
Well, okay, so maybe they're not Christmas ornaments, and maybe they're a toxic nerve agent. You know, one man's trash.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
No idea. But now we're with our good guy, I think, Stanley Goodspeed, played by, of course, Nic Cage, as he has a totally not stressful day at the FBI Toxic Chemicals Lab.
Yo, I love this scene.
Okay, I've got some bad news and some really bad news.
Basically, he and his trainee have to defuse a chemical bomb before it kills them and everyone else, which is a perfectly normal day, don't ask questions. And once Stanley successfully defuses the bomb, we get to meet his girlfriend for reasons.
This scene is so tense. It's a perfect setup for what Stanley can do and like the high pressure situations he's in. And we get home and Nic Cage is like in his underwear with a guitar.
What's your news, baby?
I'm pregnant.
Okay, so we meet his girlfriend plus one.
Oh no, it's my nightmares.
You and me both. There is this awkward moment though, where Stanley is me and is like, why would anyone bring a child into this world? And then he's like, oh, I was just kidding.
I like how he thought that in 96 and here we are in 2023. Like, yeah, I think we can all get behind Nic Cage on this one.
But honestly, who cares about kids? Let's get to the plot of this movie already.
Yeah, fuck them kids. Wait, don't fuck kids.
I, Ranger Bob, cordially invite you to become inmates of Alcatraz. Temporarily, of course.
Tour's over, Bob.
So General takes too many steps. Hummel decides to take the prison as a command center and take the tourists at Alcatraz hostage.
Cool.
Sure.
God willing, in less than 48 hours, you will evacuate this island in gunships under cover of hostages and VX gas warheads.
So basically, this whole thing that Hummel is up to is a plan, right? And the plan is to threaten the U.S. government to give them $100 million to pay for how previous Marines were killed in combat and treated like they didn't exist, which, like, doesn't solve the root of the problem he's upset about. But, you know, what do I know? I've only handled one hostage situation.
None of it. Wait, what?
What is the potential casualty rate for a single rocket armed with VX poison gas, General Peterson?
70,000 dead.
Okay, so it's a pretty intense situation, but let's just see what the government's plan is. I'm sure they're going to figure out a way to stop this. I mean, it's the U.S. military we're talking about here, okay?
They love their citizens. It would never harm anybody.
100%.
Goodspeed. Okay, yeah, I'll be down. Yeah, downstairs in 10 minutes.
Okay. Good start. They're going to have Stanley help come up with a counter chemical. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Our only alternative is an attack from within the prison. We penetrate the island through the tunnels under the prison buildings undetected.
I'm sorry, what now? Their best course of action is to break into Alcatraz? Is this poetic? Or is it stupid?
Their best chance is to like do a Boy Scout obstacle course into Alcatraz.
I mean, regardless, because of how complex the Alcatraz tunnels that apparently are real are, they have to do something drastic.
Oh, what?
His name is John Mason, British national, incarcerated on Alcatraz in 1962, escaped in 63.
Yes, the U.S. government/military, famously incapable of doing anything without the help of criminals. At least that's what every movie ever tells me. Anyway, this John Mason fella is played by Sean Connery. And they offer Mason a full pardon after 30 years in prison, but whatever, to help them save the country. No, sorry, San Francisco. Either way.
Well, essentially part of the country.
Sure.
For now.
With all due respect, sir, I don't think we have time for him to just sit around and think about it.
You go talk to him.
Yikes. So the FBI, who apparently is also incapable of doing their jobs, expect a chemical expert guy to convince a lifelong inmate to help them.
I also love how they give Nic Cage's character Stanley all this shit for being like a science dork, but we see him like in the very first like scene, he's like defusing this bomb and it's so tense, and they make him out to be like a book nerd,
which is wrong because he's fully capable and qualified for this.
Fully.
I want a suite, shower, shave, and the feel of a suit.
May I also suggest a haircut?
Sure. I don't know if it was a burn or a legit suggestion, but...
It feels legit. It was sold as legit.
Yeah. After Stanley gets Mason to sign the deal, his FBI boss, Womack, rips it up like it's the instructions to a piece of furniture at IKEA.
Yeah.
Which is, like, super rude.
And potentially illegal?
Probably. But we don't have time for that because now we're at the suite that Mason requested.
Yeah.
And this criminal escape artist is, and you're going to want to sit down for this, Blake.
I'm sitting.
Attempting to escape.
Freeze, mister!
Help! So basically what happens here is they're on the top of this like skyscraper hotel on this like veranda on this suite or whatever. Yeah. And John Mason is getting a haircut finally from the most stereotypical gay ever.
It's offensive.
It's super offensive. And when he's done, he finally gets like a congratulations or a thank you or whatever the fuck from FBI Director Womack. And he tricks him by looping a rope around his wrist, tossing him over the side of the fucking railing, and then is somehow able to just hold him up like he's Arnold goddamn Schwarzenegger. And anyway, Stanley comes out and like is holding the gun to him, and it's a whole big thing where John Mason escapes, right? He gets down to the lobby of the fucking hotel and steals a Humvee.
Yeah, like Mason throws Womack over the railing like he's sky fishing for pigeons or something, and then just fucks off and escapes through this entire hotel.
Suspect is in a black Humvee, speed approximately 70 miles per hour.
Okay, so like I said, John Mason is now in a fucking Humvee that he stole from valet. And the only person who can keep up with him is Stanley the chemical guy, who's suddenly a professional driver and is able to keep up with Mason's every move on this wild goose chase. It may or may not have something to do with the Ferrari he stole, but who knows?
This film came out 5 years before Gone in 60 Seconds. I'm just saying, this is an origin story.
100%. And after this car chase, where a Humvee that can outmaneuver regular cars, a windshield that becomes miraculously unbroken, random joke from Mason, the derailing of a streetcar, airbags go off about 16 impacts too late, Stanley steals a dirt bike, and a bevy of continuity errors, we find out a little bit more about this mysterious John Mason fellow.
Oh, please tell us more.
They got medical records, they got place of birth, Glasgow. They don't have a name. Wait a minute. They have next of kin, a Jade Angelo of 32 Stenson Drive, San Francisco.
Now, listen. The FBI locked this guy up and threw away the key. They didn't want any record of him existing.
No.
But they have his fucking daughter on record?
Yeah. Some things fall between the cracks, Dave.
No wonder the FBI is so discombobulated.
Did you see him in the last movie?
Oh,
they're switching faces.
You know what? That's fair.
But I gotta say, they've destroyed half of downtown San Francisco, and we haven't even begun to tackle the nerve gas thing yet.
No, and we're not gonna, because we have to get some more Mason backstory.
Oh yeah, hit me.
Maybe we can...
We can what?
You know, you're almost the only evidence that I exist.
But I don't know you.
Okay, so Mason is met up with his daughter.
Yeah.
Because he knows where she lives, I guess.
Yeah.
And somehow is able to make it about himself. And basically he's trying to convince her, like, hey, I'm not this bad guy. It just, things happen, whatever. And she's like, I don't know. As the cops pull up to get him, Stanley hears all of this and I guess feels bad for him. And makes it look like Mason is working with the FBI, which is exactly what's happening, instead of running from it. But then he has the next snappiest 180 ever.
Oh, God.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
And I love this scene as well because Stanley, kind of has like a good guy moment, like, hey, he's working with us. But if Jade just looked behind everybody who shows up, all the cops, they'll have guns drawn, pointed at them.
But you know what? We don't have time to think about it because we're finally getting to the plot.
Oh my God. We're only 2.5 hours into this 7-hour movie. Let's do it.
We're also in the FBI headquarters, and Mason is helping the team figure out the plan, all right?
Yeah.
Well, mostly because he can't quite remember how to navigate the convenient tunnels that are under Alcatraz.
Right.
And he's going to just have to show them.
It's a show don't tell kind of situation, especially 100%. For a man in his mid to late 70s.
I should really begin briefing your guys on defusing and detoxification. Plus, the devices themselves are complicated.
That's why you're coming with us.
Okay, just so I understand this correctly.
Yeah.
The FBI, with the backing of the entire U.S. military and government, somehow needs to send a criminal that they've kept locked up for 30 years, who they then had to bribe, and a lab rat chemical guy into an active hostage situation?
No, it's fine, because they're not going first.
Sure.
Do they have walkie-talkies in the 90s?
I don't know. Let's get to it, I guess.
All right, listen up. Mr. Mason will run point for us.
Okay, wait a minute. The criminal guy is running point? Jesus. Okay, we don't have time for this. Let's just keep moving, okay?
Please, God.
Any questions? Slow down!
Lots of questions, but whatever. Yeah. So the team choppers from the FBI headquarters to dump the apparent best SEAL team in the country and Stanley and Mason into the fucking water.
Makes sense.
Knowing full well that the bad guys can see them. Anyway, the team dives into the water and swims with these cool, jet pack thingies.
Mechanical dolphins.
Yes, I think that's exactly what they're called. Anyway, they mechanically dolphin themselves into a conveniently broken gate tube thing.
Everything's convenient when it's a Michael Bay directed film.
The Eagles are on the rock. They've entered the cistern room.
Putting aside the fact that they couldn't possibly know what room they came into, Mason crawls through a big fiery furnace thing with turning gears.
Yeah.
And then he opens a door for the rest of the team.
Welcome to the rock.
And they make their way through the totally real tunnels, narrowly avoiding being spotted from above by hiding underwater, and then they make their way up into the prison through the shower room, which has a full-size manhole cover in it that somehow no inmate ever saw and utilized to escape.
I didn't think about that at all. Also, can we talk about for a second, as they're going through the tunnels of the rock and all this stuff, the way they kind of set it up and shoot it, it makes it feel like an Indiana Jones film.
1000%.
We got motion on the tumbler in the shower room, sir. We got visitors.
Yeah, no shit, dude. You already knew that.
What about earthquakes? This is a notoriously God damn it.
The fact that he says we got visitors after they already know they have visitors. I can't focus on it. So the bad guys enter a pervert watch area of the shower room, and which is above the shower.
Yeah, my favorite part. Go on.
And now it's a standoff between Navy SEALs and the ex-military turned terrorists who have the high ground.
This is such a tense scene. There's so much yelling and middle-aged guy energy, and I was like, ah.
Don't do anything stupid. No one has to die here.
So the SEALs, who are faced with certain death, don't change course. They just choose death by marine, leaving just Mason and Stanley, which is super convenient.
The dream team.
Totally believable. And Mason, of course, picks the logical option in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Where are you going?
Off this bloody island.
But before we can see Stanley try and convince Mason to finish the mission, we have to, get to see General Hummel feel bad about killing the Navy SEALs.
Oh, thank God. He has a conscience.
Sure. And then we get to learn exactly who Mason is.
Oh, who is he?
So you held this guy without trial his whole life. No wonder he's pissed.
This man knows our most intimate secrets from the last half century.
Cool, don't care. Back to the action.
How? Explain this. Talk more about this.
Nope, they're not gonna. Neither am I.
Great.
You want to play tough with me? Okay. FBI, free sucker!
Stanley, he already knows you're in the FBI. What are you doing?
We're currently on the FBI mission, you fucking numbskull.
Oh, God. Anyway, after Mason disarms Stanley all too easily, he's forced to tell Mason the truth about the mission and the chemical warfare that they're trying to avoid.
I got a lunatic up there, man, with 15 missiles, armed with some really funky stuff.
Not my homework.
Oh, that's right. That's been obfuscated thus far.
Yes, but Stanley can't keep his goddamn voice down, and the bad guys figure out that those two are still in the tunnels. So Stanley and Mason somehow avoid being blown to bits, and Mason finally agrees to continue this mission. And of course, they immediately get into a gunfight in the first rocket room they find.
Action time.
Exactly. So what happens is a stray bullet hits the rocket, killing everyone in the room, and the end, good night.
Bye.
I know, it's wishful thinking.
So what I'm doing now is removing the guidance system chips so the rocket will splash down after 500 feet.
Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares.
Facts. So after Stanley defuses both rockets in this room, the bad guys converge on them and start to fire.
Yeah.
But Mason and Stanley dive into a vent that leads to an Indiana Jones-style cart and track system under Alcatraz. Sure.
Bye.
Why is there a track and cart system under Alcatraz?
Straight into Temple of Doom. Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Obviously, the bad guys followed this runaway cart that Mason and Stanley accidentally took.
Makes sense.
And the 60-something criminal and chemical nerd are somehow able to take out 3 of the most highly trained Marines in the country, because why not?
Brute force, baby. Works every time.
How do you do it?
Oh, I was trained by the best British intelligence.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, Mason isn't actually a criminal. He's just a British spy against the U.S.? Don't even try thinking about it, okay? Because the bad guys decide to threaten a hostage to flush out our good guys.
Got to.
Who the hell are you?
I'm always left to the enemy.
So now Mason and Stanley have split up so that Mason can distract General Hummel from killing a hostage.
Yeah.
But also give Stanley enough time to defuse the rest of the rockets. But first, we have to get some back and forth between Mason and Hummel before Hummel ultimately locks up Mason in Alcatraz. Must be deja vu.
He had this opportunity for a while now and just waited.
You're lucky that old man Hummel wants your life.
Because I take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
This line is only funnier because Nic Cage spends the next 30 seconds repeating it in different inflections.
Gutting you, boy. Gutting you, boy.
It's funny because you see Nic Cage working out his character in real time.
That's amazing. It's so good, but obviously Stanley gets caught with 2 rockets still left to defuse. So now our good guys are both locked up in cells, but not for long because Mason is an escape artist after all.
Oh, it's true.
Convenient.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
Trade secrets, my son.
I love how cool Sean Connery is in this movie too.
So as our good guys are escaping their cell, General Hummel is panicking because he might have to actually launch these devil rockets into a city full of people.
Yeah.
And because he's second guessing, some of his men are starting to get really irritated. They urge him to order the launch and he reluctantly agrees. But wait, where are our heroes, you may ask?
Yeah.
Ask it.
Where are our heroes?
The mission's not complete.
You're not leaving.
Oh, all right. I'll do it myself. I got 3 weeks weapons training.
Yep. Mason is trying to leave again, and Stanley has to finish the mission by himself.
Can't say I blame him.
Just kidding. Mason has a change of heart and saves Stanley from being killed.
I didn't even finish my sentence and he changed his mind.
So fast. He's just, the very first thing that happens, he's there to save Stanley's ass.
He kind of talks about this, but I assume somewhere off screen, he walked up to the water and goes, God damn it, I'm too fucking old for this.
Probably.
Guess I gotta stay and fight the Marines.
But either way, now our heroes can go defuse those last 2 rockets.
Thank God.
Fire.
Fire!
Oh, General Hummel gives the order to fire the missile at a football game.
Cool.
It launches, approaches the stadium, and Hummel changes the coordinates, making the rocket go out to sea. And his men are pissed.
Super pissed. They're out for blood, man. They want some of that football viewing blood.
They really wanted to kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, and who likes the 49ers anyway, so whatever.
Nobody.
Airstrike approved.
That's right. The President of the United States of America has no choice but to approve an airstrike with some brand new, put together in the last 24 hours, neutralizing agent to take out the entire Alcatraz island. But wait,
what?
There's more.
Wait, hold on. They were going to vaporize everybody on Alcatraz, and you're telling me there's more?
Yes.
Are they going to piss on their ashes? What's going on here?
We bluffed. They called it. The mission's over.
Whoever said anything about bluffing, General?
I'm relieving you of your command, sir.
Mutiny!
Hey, about time.
What?
I don't know. It's kind of rooting for the bad guys at this point.
Yikes. Sounds about right. But it's almost as if the people that would be willing to, at the very least, threaten an entire city with a violent, incurable death aren't very trustworthy or loyal. What?
It's amazing. A wild twist of fortune.
Never could have seen this coming.
Nope.
Anyway, General's team turns on him and a firefight ensues, which kills General Hummel. But not before he finally sees the terror of his ways. You see what I did there?
It's a wordplay with terrorists. A novel by Dave Holland.
Where's the last rocket?
Lower lighthouse.
General Hummel is able to eke out his last words telling Stanley where the last rocket is. And Stanley acts on this info with some good speed. I'm on a roll. And he gets to the last rocket and is confronted by the guy who led the mutiny. And he is super intense. But it's nothing that our smarty pants chemical guy can't get out of.
That's what he's here for.
It's you. You're the rocket man.
Oh, shit. Stanley straight up took this guy out with a point-blank rocket shot, and it's the last one, too. It's the last rocket. Oh, no, wait a minute. Not the last one?
I too am confused about this. I lost count somewhere.
Anyway, he still has to finish defusing and is running around with one of the hanging bulb things of toxic chemical gas like it's a goddamn football.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, he nearly drops one, which would have made this movie so funny.
So funny, dude. I was like really in the mood to laugh at this point in the movie. He shit the bed.
Stanley is running from the last remaining mutineer bad guy with the last rocket's navigation chip.
Final rocket.
And instead of just destroying the chip and tossing the chemical shit into the ocean, which is where one of the rockets went already, don't come at me.
Yeah.
He uses the chip as bait to attack the last mutineer and pops one of the chemical balls into the mutineer's mouth and punches him?
It's incredibly absurd.
This is almost face-off levels of absurd.
It's very action-packed, though. I was into it, man. I was very into it.
Time on target, 60 seconds. Of course, heading.
So Stanley injects his heart with the antidote, or whatever that I guess exists.
It's like an anti-VX poison gas heart gel. I don't know how it works or why it's a thing.
I don't know.
Fuck it.
Either way, so the jets come shooting in.
Yes.
Stanley waves around 2 green flares, which is the code for mission accomplished.
Green smoke! Aboard! 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 I already dropped them!
So one of the fighter jets was a skosh trigger happy and dropped his load a bit premature, but somehow missed Stanley, ragdolling him into the ocean. But don't fret though, Blake.
I'm not.
Mason is here to save his ass. Again.
And you can't be mad at everybody. We all drop our loads prematurely sometimes, and you just got to clean up after.
Yep.
We're talking about
bombs.
We're talking
about bombs.
Are the hostages alive?
Every one of them.
What about Mason?
He's dead, sir.
So, of course, Stanley's bosses can't leave him rest just for 1 minute.
No.
They have to pester him with fucking questions. And Stanley decides to let Mason go. Because remember, the FBI boss, Womack, tore up Mason's pardon. And not only that, he's like, hey, go to my hotel room, have my clothes and all the money that's there, which I guess is a pretty good repayment for saving one's life.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
Me neither. But Mason can't be outdone, even in terms of giving good gestures.
St. Michael's Church, Fort Walton, Kansas. Front pew. Right leg. Is this what I think it is?
Mason?
Mason lets Stanley know where the secrets he stole from the U.S. government are hidden, which does not sound like a gift.
No.
It sounds like a horrifying death sentence that the U.S. government is going to come after him for sure.
Yeah.
But either way, we cut to Stanley and his wife now stealing from a church and...
You wanna know who really killed JFK?
We roll credits.
Dude. This movie is a wild ride, man. It's good. I like this movie. It's action-packed, and I think it's paced really well. Like, everything just keeps going.
It's just the right amount of lunacy and ludicrousness.
It's taken very seriously, too.
Yes.
And there's a stacked cast. Like, This is unbelievable. The cast in this movie. We got Cage, we got Connery, we got Ed Harris, David Morse, William Forsythe, Michael Biehn of Terminator fame, John C. McGinley, Tony Todd, Bokeem Woodbine, Claire Forlani, Philip Baker Hall, and Jim Caviezel. Pre-QAnon, of course.
I know you said his name in there, but I have never known him as anything other than Angry Scrubs. But yeah, he's in there.
He is in there. Around this era, too, he was in Seven, David Fincher's movie Seven.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah, dude. He's also one of, like, the FBI agents people, or one of the agents. He's in a bunch of movies as a very serious person in, like, the early to mid-90s.
Interesting. Well, that's cool. I like seeing him like this.
Oh, yeah. He kills. Literally.
A few people, and he seems to be happy about it. He does die unceremoniously by being lit on fire and then dropped into water before he's engulfed in flames. Does he actually die?
That's a good question. Let's get The Rock 2. That one guy.
That one guy. This movie was pretty good, I gotta say. I didn't hate it. I was very entertained. I laughed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
At Stanley Goodspeed's lines. They were fucking hilarious.
Dude, and Connery gets a ton of great one-liners in here, man.
Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Do British high schools have prom?
No, none of this shit makes sense, dude. Plus, 30 years ago, he was still, like, 48.
We could sit here and talk about this movie for hours, but I would rather... No, I know it's your birthday, okay? But we have to get to the Thunderdome. Let's talk about these movies against each other.
Oh, my God!
Movie versus movie. Welcome to the Thunderdome. This place fucking rules.
All right, Dave, we are back in the Thunderdome, and I'm feeling hyped enough to swap faces with you.
No, thank you. I would rather try and break into Alcatraz and disarm chemical bombs.
Nope. We're swapping faces. It's my birthday.
Son of a bitch.
But before we watch these movies, Dave, you and I, we decide on 5 things that we both agree make a good genre movie. In this case, very specifically, Nic Cage action movies.
Yes, we did.
So let's go through them.
Yeah.
Number 1, we need a classic Cage performance.
How much Cage could a Nic Cage cage if a Nic Cage could cage Nick?
Number 2, we need a nonsensical plot.
None of this makes any sense.
Number 3, we need ludicrously high stakes.
Why is the world always in danger?
Number 4, over-the-top action.
So people are just flying around and doing flips?
And number 5, we need an explosive finale.
No, for real, there's explosions.
Quite literally. So diving right in with classic Cage performance, when people think of some of the most like Nic Cage performances, I think Face Off is always in the conversation.
Yes.
The man can act, but in Face Off, he's unhinged, and not only as Castor Troy, but maybe even more unhinged when he's Sean Archer trying to be Castor Troy.
Oh, God.
You know, we have the faces, the quotes, the hand gestures, and all of it done with like that straight-faced professionalism that this film absolutely does not deserve.
No, not even sorta.
Close. I don't know how he does it, man. The meme moments in this film are vast and deserve recognition forever.
Yeah, and listen, I can't disagree. Nic Cage is the nickiest of caged. The cagiest of Nick. Whatever. He's incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
And while The Rock may not have produced the most over-the-top Nic Cage performance I've ever seen, it is still classic.
Yeah.
The way he portrays a nerdy, slightly neurotic lab guy is brilliantly cagey.
Yeah.
Not to mention, the weird one-liners and the way he delivers them is just... Oh, so good. He's goofy, yet believable.
Yeah, I'd say the moments in The Rock, I feel weird saying this, are more subtle, but when they show up, they're good, and they're memorable, and they're hilarious. Because the stuff in Face Off is less comedy-based outwardly, whereas like The Rock stuff is played up a little bit more comedically, but it's done so well, and there's so many good things, and I love that performance. I really, truly love that performance.
Yes.
In Face Off, it's just totally fucking off the rails. It makes zero sense.
Yes, which actually gets us perfectly to our next point. Nonsensical plot. So, you mean to tell me that in The Rock, some military guys happily abandon their country, turn on it, threaten it with chemical weapons that don't have an antidote, but do have an antidote, sorta, and then have an actual antidote that can only be administered by jets with missiles. And on top of that, this entire mission centers around a guy who was just in cuffs a minute ago and a lab nerd who has had only 3 weeks of weapons training. And that's all because the Navy SEAL team is completely dead within 10 minutes of arriving to Alcatraz? None of that makes any sense.
On its face, within the movie's reality, it sells itself enough to like immerse yourself a little bit, but with Face Off, it's Face Off. How the fuck was this plot ever taken seriously? It's not them implanting consciousness into each other's bodies. They literally switch faces and then surgically change their bodies with seemingly no adverse effects. But that's not the plot even specifically. The plot is to stop a bomb, then for Sean to get his stupid face back from a criminal mastermind who seduced his wife and gave his daughter a knife. There's
my lord.
There's the jail, there's tons of bullets, bad impressions, and boats. None of this shit makes sense.
Not only does it not make sense, it is like borderline insanity.
It's absolute insanity. And I think we can move on to our next point, which is ludicrously high stakes. Like with my last point, the stakes in Face Off change, right?
Yeah.
At first, it's a bomb that's going to level part of Los Angeles, or what I like to call very low stakes. But then the stakes are tremendous. Sean has the wrong face, bro. How the hell is he going to get a passport now?
Impossible.
Nearly impossible. But for real, Castor with Sean's face is going to apparently wipe out all the terrorism in the world single-handedly and then have full control of it. And what he plans to do, I don't know. It's nobody really says, but I guess he can do anything is the point. Ooh.
Yes.
It's scary.
But in The Rock, not only is the entire city of San Francisco in danger of mass murder, but the hostages trapped in cells at Alcatraz and Stanley Goodspeed, the lovable goofy nerd, are also in danger.
And we don't want anything bad happening to Stanley.
No. But for real, an entire city is the target of a domestic terrorist plot to essentially get money. And that's insane. It's not even just hostages. They put the lives of millions of people at risk. The Rock's high stakes are absolutely ludicrously high.
I would say they are very high. Ludicrous, maybe not. I could see somebody, a deranged person, coming to this conclusion. Whereas Face Off, it just seems like some asshole screenwriter wrote it and made it up. It doesn't feel grounded. But I get the point. All of this, regardless, both of these things are just the next level.
Which, I think we can get to our next point. Over-the-top action. The Rock delivers on over-the-top action.
Yeah.
And so did this movie. You get it? It's a Dwayne Johnson joke. Anyway, this movie has explosions, gunshots, weird motion sensor things, grenades, an Indiana Jones cart and track, missiles, scuba diving. Everything in this movie is over-the-top action, and I was here for every minute of it.
It's true. There's no short round, so points off for that, but fine, I accept it. But not only is Face Off's action over the top, obviously, it's absolutely insane. Like, there's a riot in a black site super prison. There's sparklers going off. There's doves flying in the background of scenes for no reason. We got a 30-mile-long plane chase on a runway, guns, explosions, more guns, and boats. Did I mention boats?
Boats.
Boats.
You did not mention the hose.
Not sure if I mentioned those. But even though lots of this action is technically motivated, it goes on for a hilariously long amount of time.
Oh my God.
And just when you think it's over, nope, we get a weird face pun or a bad impression. And then more action.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Yeah, listen. We really do need to stop.
Yeah, we got to get on to the finales of these because my brain's already half deflated over here. It's dying in its shell, otherwise known as my skull. Talking about explosive finale. Okay, I am not going to lie. Since I've been lying this entire time, I'm not going to lie here. The ending of Face Off feels a bit anticlimactic. Yes, the boats crash, but then Sean harpoons Castor and yells, "Die!" and afterwards, everyone just already believes that he's Sean. Like, it undercuts all of its tension and feels like after the boat crash, they were just trying to end this thing as quickly as possible in, like, the most wholesome kind of way.
They wanted it to end wholesomely, but it ended horrifyingly because if you think about it, before he adopts the kid that looks just like his own son, he says to the doctor, "You don't need to put back my bullet wound scar. I don't need it anymore," which roughly translates to, "I don't care about my dead son anymore because I'm about to get a new one.
I'm over him." Again, new one right off the factory line.
Fucking hell.
Renaming him from Adam to Mikey, dressing him up in his old clothes, putting him on the same T-ball team.
And just pretending like it's Mikey.
Exactly.
We brought him back from the dead.
The movie tries to sell it to us as wholesome, but I guess, it is explosive in a horrifying way when you, stop to think about it. Even a little bit.
But you can't, because...
You can't.
And I'm not going to let you, because we got to talk about the explosive finale of The Rock.
Please.
And this movie quite literally ends with a bang.
Yeah.
The jets come to blow up the island, only to be called off so last minute that one jet has already dropped a missile on accident, and kaboom! An explosion launches Stanley into the ocean, and he has to be saved by Mason again. And then the movie truly ends on a metaphorical boom. Stanley is now in possession of all the U.S. government's secrets because, they famously put them all in the same place.
Oh, it makes sense. You just scoop them up, on your way to the fucking water cooler.
Exactly. And then you just have them.
Yeah, and you just have them to hide in a church somewhere in fucking Kansas or whatever.
Love that for them.
No, it's great. These are both great. I actually really, really do like the ending of The Rock. I think it's really fun and it's really tense.
Yes.
But also still has a little bit of that kind of like comedic little jokey thing at the end where he's driving away. "Oh, honey, you want to know who killed JFK?" Like, that's funny. It's kind of cute. Whereas Face Off's ending is like, fuck this. It's weird.
So true.
But whatever. I'm done with both of these. I'm done with my birthday. I'm done with this fucking show. Let's get on to the finish line.
Let's go ahead and cut our faces off.
Hey, look, we did it. It's the finish line. We're at the finish line. Can I go home yet? Alright.
Dave.
Here I am.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
My legs hurt. I've been sitting down this whole time. My legs still hurt from watching these stupid movies.
Oh, God. My brain still hurts.
Can my birthday be over, please?
Not yet.
Jesus Christ.
We have to crown a winner.
Okay, well, I'm still kind of mulling it over a little bit. I think this is a decently close competition. If you know, would you mind going first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So after watching both these movies, well, watching Face Off, I was like, what the fuck is this movie? What are you doing? None of this makes any fucking sense. None of this has any semblance of a real thought process gone into it.
Yeah.
And it's fucking insane. Yeah. Just the idea, the performances, watching John Travolta pretend to be Nic Cage is hilarious.
Yeah.
But watching The Rock was like entertaining while equally stupid in a lot of ways and filled with plot holes.
Totally.
Seeing, Nic Cage with these hilarious one-liners that he had and the way he delivered them.
So good.
And the action-packed plot where it's, like domestic terrorism and stuff. It was just more believable and well-rounded. But Sean Connery was more of the main character than Nic Cage was in this movie, in my opinion.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. I'd say co-leads.
Okay.
I think we're given equal amount of time to their arcs and their backstories.
Okay, fair enough. But I will say that we have co-leads with Sean Connery and Nic Cage. But in Face Off, we have Nic Cage and John Travolta pretending to be Nic Cage. So we have twice the Cage. So I'm going to have to give first prize to Face Off in the Nic Cage action films genre.
That's a fair choice. And so for me, it's interesting because I don't know if you can agree, but I think it's pretty obvious that The Rock is the better movie.
Yes.
It's a well-constructed narrative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's like motivation, like the acting's good and all that stuff. it's crazy and it's over the top. But like Face Off has a fucking terrible concept, a terrible script, really weird and like bad acting from people. It's just absolutely fucking insane. Everything that happens in that movie is fucking insane.
Exactly.
And like The Rock is a much better movie and a movie that I would rather watch again. Mm-hmm. But Face Off is just the more weird, strange, memeable Nic Cage action movie. Like that's where my brain goes to. And after watching these, I don't really care to watch Face Off ever again. But those little moments that are in it just stick out in my brain more so than The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's the better and more memorable Nic Cage action movie.
I agree.
So, yeah, I think we are in agreement. And, wow, look at us, Dave.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. It sucks.
Oh, you want to go break into Alcatraz?
Yeah, hopefully I don't get to another birthday where we have to do this shit all over again.
I'm dragging you through it.
Whatever, fuck this. Birthdays are awful. I'm turning 63 this year, so my back hurts, and I need to go lay down before I see my doctor and take my heart pills.
Sounds good. I'll let you get to it, and I am going to, I guess, break into Alcatraz myself.
Good luck.
Hey, First Prize listeners, thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for getting goofy and unbelievable with us.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed hearing us breaking our brains to understand the logic in these movies, consider subscribing to our socials. It's at First Prize Pod on all platforms, and that includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on TikTok and YouTube as well. Also, don't forget to check out our website. It's firstprizefilms.com.
Yep, we do this for free because we switch faces and are therefore tax exempt. But if you'd like to support us, consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or come hang out on Twitch. We stream most weeks talking about movies, having some laughs, and chatting with all of you.
Yeah, it's a good time. But join us next month for another bonus episode as we true crime our way through these serial killer movies.
Yeah, we are talking about two classics. We're talking about The Silence of the Lambs from 1991 versus Seven from 1995.
Yes, sir. It's going to be stabby.
And gross.
Yeah.
And gross.
And super gross.
And gross.
See ya.
Bye. I legitimately tried to follow that, and my brain just turned into a fucking banana peel.